Comfort kills growth. It's that simple. But most people don't realize it until it's too late. You see, the moment life gets a little easier, when things start to go your way, that's when most people hit the brakes instead of the gas. They stop grinding, stop pushing, stop stretching. Because comfort feels good, it feels safe. But that's the problem. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Comfort tells you you've done enough. Comfort whispers you deserve the rest. And before you know it, that whisper becomes your reality, and your dreams start fading away one small compromise at a time. Growth demands pain. Growth demands pressure. There's no version of success that comes without sacrifice. Every champion, every leader, every person who has ever reached greatness has had to make peace with discomfort. They've had to wake up early when their body wanted to sleep. They've had to practice when no one was watching. They've had to fail again and again until failure became just another step towards success. Comfort doesn't teach you that. Comfort teaches you to avoid the lesson, but growth forces you to face it, to feel it, and to fight through it until you become stronger than your excuses. You have to understand the body, the mind, the spirit. They grow through resistance. Think about it. You go to the gym and lift weights. The muscle doesn't grow because of comfort. It grows because of tension, because of stress, because it's being challenged. The same rule applies to your dream. Every challenge, every obstacle, every moment that pushes you beyond your limits, that's your growth moment. But most people run from it. They look for shortcuts. They look for the easy way out. And the truth is, there is no easy way to greatness. There's only the hard way. And the hard way is the right way. You can't expect to evolve while staying in the same environment that makes you comfortable. You can't expect to level up while you're surrounded by people who don't challenge you. You can't expect to change while doing the same things that make you feel safe. Growth requires you to leave that space, to walk into the unknown, to risk failure, to be okay with not having all the answers. Because in that uncertainty, you'll find who you really are. I remember hearing a quote once that said, "A ship in harbor is safe." But that's not what ships are built for. That's you. You weren't built to play it safe. You weren't built to stay in the harbor of comfort. You were built to sail, to explore, to risk, to conquer. You were built for something greater than just surviving. You were built to live fully, fearlessly, and faithfully. But you can't do that if you're constantly protecting your comfort. Comfort is seductive. It gives you a false sense of success. You'll look around and think you're doing fine, but deep down, you'll know there's more. That's why so many people feel empty, because they've traded potential for pleasure. They've chosen comfort over challenge, ease over effort. And at the end of the day, it's not that they couldn't achieve more. It's that they stopped wanting to try. They became okay with a good enough. But good enough is the enemy of great. When you decide that comfort will no longer control you, everything changes. Suddenly, you wake up earlier. You move with purpose. You stop looking for validation because you understand that growth is a lonely road. You start embracing the pain because you realize pain is proof that you're still pushed in. You stop comparing yourself to others because you know your race is different. Growth makes you focus. Growth makes you hungry. And hunger is what separates the successful from the average. The truth is, the more comfortable you are, the less likely you are to take action. Comfort makes you passive. It dulls your hunger. It keeps you from chasing the version of yourself that you could be. The moment you start feeling too safe, too satisfied, too secure, that's your signal. That's the time to shake things up. Because comfort is not a reward. It's a trap. The people who achieve greatness never stop evolving. They don't wait until they're in pain to change. They create their own pressure. They put themselves in situations where they have to rise. That's how you stay alive inside, by never letting comfort win. You have to choose every single day between comfort and growth. When the alarm goes off in the morning, that's your choice. When it's time to work out, when it's time to study, when it's time to grind after everyone else has gone home, that's your choice. Are you going to let comfort dictate your actions, or are you going to take control? Because growth doesn't happen by accident, it's intentional, it's deliberate. It's a decision you make over and over again until it becomes who you are. The path to success isn't glamorous. It's not easy. It's uncomfortable, painful, and sometimes lonely, but it's worth it. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. That's a universal truth people try to escape from, but it always catches up. Growth and comfort are like fire and water. They cannot coexist. One must give way to the other. The moment you decide to grow, you are also deciding to let go of comfort. The moment you decide to stay comfortable, you are choosing to stay the same. You cannot evolve and remain in the same space, doing the same things, surrounded by the same habits. Growth demands change, and change demands discomfort. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has had to step into the unknown. They had to leave the safety of what they knew for the uncertainty of what they desired. Comfort is predictable. Growth is not. Comfort says to stay here, it's safe. Growth says a move forward, it's time. Comfort holds your hand. Growth challenges your will. Comfort keeps you in the circle you've always known. But growth breaks that circle and introduces you to a bigger version of yourself. That's why so many people talk about change, but never truly change, because the process hurts. Growth asks you to let go of who you were so you can become who you're meant to be. And that process is rarely easy. If you look at nature, everything that grows goes through pressure. A seed has to break open before it becomes a tree. A chick must break its shell to live. Even the butterfly struggles in the cocoon before it can fly. The same principle applies to you. You can't expand without breaking something. An old habit, a toxic relationship, a limiting belief, a fear, or a false sense of security. The pain you feel in the process of growing isn't punishment, it's transformation. The shell that once protected you eventually becomes too small for you to stay in. That's how you know it's time to move on. Comfort feels good not but costs you later. Growth costs you not but rewards you forever. Too many people trade long-term fulfillment for short-term pleasure. They choose to stay where they are because they fear the temporary discomfort that comes with change. But that fear is what keeps them trapped in average. They stay in the same job they hate, the same mindset that limits them, the same environment that drains them, all because it feels familiar. But familiarity doesn't equal happiness. You can be comfortable and still miserable. You can have everything under control and still feel like something inside you is dying. That's because your soul was made for expansion, not stagnation. Growth demands risk. You will fail, you will fall, and you will doubt yourself along the way. But that's part of it. Every setback teaches you something that success can't. Every mistake gives you wisdom that comfort never will. You can't learn to swim by sitting on the shore. You have to get in the water, even if you're scared. And yes, you might sink a few times, but eventually you'll learn how to float, and then how to swim, and one day, how to thrive in the deep. That's how growth works. It forces you to become capable of more than you imagine. The problem with staying comfortable is that it makes you forget what you're capable of. It numbs your ambition. It lulls you into believing that good enough is good enough. You stop challenging yourself, and before long, life becomes repetitive. You stop living with passion and start merely existing. The days blend into each other because nothing changes. But when you step into discomfort, suddenly, life wakes up again. You feel alive because you're moving towards something that matters. The pain of progress is far more satisfying than the peace of stagnation. When you choose growth, you will lose people who don't want to change. You will outgrow conversations, habits, and environments that once felt like home. That's part of the price. Growth often requires isolation. It will test your patience and force you to stand alone for a while. But it's in that solitude that you meet your true self. You learn what you really value, what you truly believe in, and what kind of life you want to build. Comfort never gives you that clarity. It only gives you convenience. To grow, you have to accept that not everyone will understand your journey. Some will call you crazy, some will think you've changed, and some will try to pull you back into comfort because your growth makes them uncomfortable. But you can't shrink yourself to make others feel secure. You have to keep expanding, even when it means walking away from what's easy. You owe it to yourself to keep becoming more. Growth is not glamorous. It's messy, uncertain, and painful. There will be days when you question why you started, days when you feel lost, and days when the old version of you calls you back. But if you keep going, you'll start to notice something powerful. You're not the same person you used to be. You respond differently. You respond differently. You think differently. You carry yourself differently. The pain that once broke you now builds you. Discipline is greater than motivation because motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Motivation comes and goes with your emotions. It's strong when you're inspired, but it disappears the moment life gets hard. Discipline, though, doesn't care about feelings. It's built on consistency. It's doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Most people rely on motivation to get started, but the ones who finish rely on discipline to keep going. Success doesn't belong to the most excited. It belongs to the most committed. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. There will be days when you wake up tired, unmotivated, and unsure. Those are the days that separate the dreamers from the doers. Anyone can work hard when they're excited, but discipline is doing the same work when excitement is gone. Discipline is when your goals mean more than your waking up early, even when you're exhausted, studying when you'd rather scroll your phone, training when it's raining, and staying focused when distractions call your name. That's the real test. Not how motivated you are when everything feels right, but how consistent you are when everything feels wrong. The truth is, motivation is emotional, and emotions are unreliable. One bad day can kill your motivation. One disappointment can make you want to quit. But discipline is logical. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you promise yourself. Discipline says, I don't care if you're tired, you got a goal. Oh, discipline says, I don't care if no one's watching, do the work. Discipline says, you made a commitment, now honor it. That's the mindset that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. If you look at the greats in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they all have one thing in common: discipline. They don't rely on bursts of energy or waves of motivation. They build habits that carry them through every storm. They show up even when it's inconvenient, even when it hurts, even when they don't see immediate results, because they understand that greatness isn't a one-time act. It's a lifestyle of lifestyle. Every rep, every late night, every sacrifice compounds over time. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum creates mastery. Motivation can start your journey, but it can't sustain. That's why so many people start strong and fade fast. They make New Year's resolutions, start new projects, commit to new goals. But as soon as the initial excitement fades, they stop. They blame circumstances, timing, or lack of support. But what they're really missing is discipline. Discipline is what makes you finish where you start. It's the ability to keep pushing long after the feeling that started you has gone. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's repetitive. It's often boring. It's doing the same small, simple things every day when no one's clapping for you. But that's where success hides, in the boring, consistent grind. Most people are chasing a feeling. Disciplined people are building a foundation. You can't build a solid life on the shaky ground of motivation. Motivation might get you to the gym one day. Discipline gets you there every day. Motivation might make you start a business. Discipline keeps it alive when sales are slow. Motivation might inspire you to write a plan. Discipline is what executes that plan. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it grows with practice. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You start small. Maybe it's waking up 15 minutes earlier, cutting one bad habit, or sticking to one daily task. And before you know it, that small act of discipline becomes a pattern. That pattern becomes a habit. That habit becomes part of your identity. One day you stop saying, I have to be disciplined, and start saying, I am disciplined. That's when everything changes. You no longer wait to feel ready. You just do it. Discipline gives you freedom. Most people think discipline is restriction, but it's actually the opposite. When you're disciplined, you control your habits instead of letting your habits control you. You manage your time instead of time managing you. You make decisions based on purpose, not impulse. That's real freedom. The power to do what you need to do without being a prisoner to your emotions. Discipline doesn't take away your happiness. It builds it by aligning your actions with your goals. There will always be days when you don't feel like showing up. That's normal. But those are the days that matter most. So, anyone can work when they're inspired. Few can work when they're uninspired. That's why discipline beats motivation every single time. Discipline is loyalty to your future self. It's saying, I'll do this now so I can live better later. It's saying, I'll sacrifice today so I can celebrate tomorrow. Comfort leads to complacency, and complacency is the slow death of potential. It doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in quietly. One day you tell yourself, I've done enough, and the next day that same thought becomes a habit. You start to move slower, dream smaller, and settle for less without even realizing it. Comfort feels like peace, but it's really paralysis. It's the illusion of progress without the reality of growth. The more comfortable you become, the less you push yourself. And the less you push yourself, the more you lose the hunger that once drove you. The moment you start believing that you've made it, you stop moving forward. That's how comfort traps you. It convinces you that where you are is good enough. But a good enough is the most dangerous phrase in your vocabulary because it kills ambition. The difference between the great and the average isn't talent. It's the refusal to settle. Greatness requires a constant dissatisfaction with where you are, not because you're ungrateful, but because you know there's more inside you that hasn't been used yet. Complacency blinds you to that potential. It makes you forget what it took to get where you are. And when you forget the grind, you start losing the edge that once made you unstoppable. Look around at any successful person, athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or leader, and you'll see the same pattern. The moment they stop striving, the moment they stop learning, the moment they stop challenging themselves, they start to decline. Success can make you lazy if you let it. When you worked hard for years and finally reach a certain level, it's easy to start believing you deserve to rest permanently. But success doesn't stay with the lazy. It stays with the relentless. You have to protect your drive even after you win. Comfort tells you you've arrived. But growth whispers, oh, still another level. Complacency often hides behind satisfaction. It tells you to take a break, to slow down, to stop reaching so high. And rest is necessary. But there's a difference between resting and quitting. Resting is recovery. Complacency is surrender. Resting is preparation for the next level. Complacency is comfort with the current one. You can't build a life of excellence by coasting. If you're not improving, you're declining. Life doesn't stay still. And if you stop chasing progress, you'll start sliding backward without even noticing. Think about a muscle. If you stop using it, it doesn't stay the same. It weakens. The same happens to your discipline, your passion, your creativity, and your ambition. If you don't keep them active, they start to fade. You have to keep exercising them, stretching them, testing them, or they'll lose their strength. Comfort is like gravity. It always tries to pull you down. The only way to fight it is with consistent effort. You can't live on yesterday's victories. Yesterday's work doesn't pay today's rent. Every day is a new opportunity to prove that you're still hungry. Complacency also blinds you to new opportunities. When you're too comfortable, you stop paying attention. You stop innovating, stop exploring, stop thinking creatively. You get stuck doing what worked before, even when it no longer works now. That's how people and companies lose relevance. They mistake stability for success. But the truth is, the world is constantly evolving. If you're not growing with it, you're falling behind. The mindset that got you here won't get you to the next level. You have to keep evolving, keep learning, keep stretching beyond what's easy. Comfort also numbs your sense of purpose. When you first start chasing a dream, you're fueled by passion. You have energy, vision, and fire. But over time, once you reach a few goals, that fire can dim if you're not careful. You start focusing on maintaining instead of expanding. You stop asking, what's next? And start saying, this is fine. But a fine is the enemy of a fantastic. The more you settle, the smaller your dreams become until eventually you're not even chasing anything anymore. You're just existing. That's what complacency does. It replaces passion with comfort and ambition with excuses. Sometimes comfort looks like success. You might have money, recognition, or security, but if you're not growing, you're slowly dying inside. Start feeling restless and don't know why. That's because your soul craves purpose, not comfort. Comfort feeds the body. Purpose feeds the spirit. The truth is, you'll never feel fulfilled by staying the same. You're wired to evolve. You're meant to stretch, to learn, to create, to serve. The more you grow, the more alive you feel. The moment you stop growing, life loses its color. If you want to defeat complacency, you have to create pressure for yourself. You have to set goals that scare you again. You have to surround yourself with people who challenge you, not those who make you comfortable. The moment you stop improving, you start declining. There's no standing still in life. You're either moving forward or sliding backward, growing stronger or getting weaker. Many people think they can coast once they've reached a certain level of success, but that's the biggest mistake you can make. The truth is, the second you stop working on yourself, your skills begin to dull, your drive begins to fade, and your fire starts to die. Growth is a lifelong commitment, not a one-time effort. You can't plant a seed, walk away, and expect it to keep growing forever. It needs attention, effort, and consistency. And so do you. You have to understand that success is not permanent. Winning once doesn't make you a winner forever. The moment you stop improving, the world moves ahead without you. The competition gets smarter, stronger, and hungrier while you're sitting in the comfort of your past achievements. Life doesn't wait for you to catch up. Growth is constant evolution, and the people who thrive are the ones who never get too proud to learn. They never assume they know it all. They never stop asking questions, reading, training, or pushing for that next level. They understand that mastery isn't a destination. It's a mindset. You can't afford to get comfortable because comfort is the beginning of decline. Comfort whispers, you've done enough, but improvement demands. You can do more. Improvement is about challenging yourself even when things are going well. It's about asking, what's next, instead of saying, that's enough. The greatest athletes don't stop practicing after winning a championship. The best entrepreneurs don't stop innovating after making their first million. The most successful people never stop improving because they know the moment they relax, someone else is working harder. Every day you have a choice. Stay the same or get better. And staying the same might feel easier, but it's actually the more dangerous choice because time doesn't stop. The world keeps changing. If you're not improving, you're falling behind. The habits that got you here won't get you to the next level. What used to be good enough eventually becomes outdated. You have to keep reinventing yourself. Keep challenging your own limits. Keep setting new standards. That's how you stay sharp. Improving doesn't always come from big leaps. It often comes from small, consistent steps. Doing one more rep, reading one more page, practicing one more hour, showing up one more time when you don't feel like it. These little acts of effort stack up. Over time, they separate the average from the excellent. The people who commit to getting just 1% better every day become unstoppable. Not because they do extraordinary things once, but because they do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. When you stop improving, you also stop being challenged. And without challenge, you stop growing. Growth only happens in the presence of resistance. Think about a tree. If it stops growing, it starts dying. That's how life works. You can't maintain success without nurturing it. You can't keep your edge without sharpening it. You can't stay strong without exercising discipline. The reason many people lose their momentum is because they start believing improvement is optional. But it's not, it's survival. You must stay hungry even when you're full. Hunger doesn't mean dissatisfaction. It means drive. It means waking up each day asking, how can I be better than I was yesterday? Maybe it's improving your mindset, your health, your communication, or your focus. Whatever it is, there's always something to refine. And when you live with that hunger, you never become stagnant. You keep evolving. You keep learning. You keep winning. Because success doesn't come from what you did yesterday. It comes from what you're willing to do today. Improvement also means humility. You have to be humble enough to admit there's still more to learn, to master, more to understand. The moment you think you've arrived, you close the door to growth. The most dangerous mindset is not failure, it's arrogant. It's arrogant. When you believe you already know everything, you stop listening, you stop learning, and you stop adapting. That's when decline begins. True greatness comes from staying a student no matter how much you've achieved. The best never think they're the best. They always believe they can be better. Improvement also requires honesty. You have to be willing to look at yourself and admit where you've fallen short. You can't fix what you refuse to face. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. When you know your weaknesses, you can work on them. When you know your bad habits, you can replace them. When you know where you're lacking, you can fill the gap. The people who improve are the ones who are brave enough to confront their flaws. The ones who avoid self-reflection stay stuck in cycles that keep them average.